fears, everything about everything that I've ever thought or felt. The I am knows. And to feel safe in my imagination with the I am, I can do that. So much of my life has been feeling like I love, but I'm not feeling safe, emotionally secure with others. And I'm recognizing that's because I don't feel emotionally safe within myself. But I guess that's from judging myself, being critical, believing what was said by people outside of myself, taking those things in as truth. Because as children, we do that. We do that without question. We just accept what is said to us about us as though it is the truth. I mean, why wouldn't we? We're sponges. We're soaking everything up. Between the ages of, I want to say 1 and 7. And then, hopefully, around the time of 7 or so, your critical thinking skills start activating or kicking in. And then you start questioning what you're being told. You're starting to ask yourself, is that true? I think what I'm realizing is that I may have been rejecting some of the things as not true, but I was still feeling the things that I was rejecting or not wanting to believe as true. I was feeling them as true. And I think that's when I started burying things, feelings into my body, taking those feelings on as beliefs. And then, of course, I'd be having experiences that would come and back those feelings up. The feelings would come first, and then the thoughts that are most in alignment with those feelings will show up. And then that's how the path that you're on begins to get paved with those beliefs. Those experiences just continue to roll in, giving you further confirmation that they must be true, that this is the way things are, and so on and so forth, right? So this is really dismantling the beliefs that I've kind of accepted as truth. This is where I get to reestablish my core beliefs. And that does feel like relief. That does feel like wow, I can do that, and that's gonna yield something completely different than what maybe I have experienced. And in ways that led me to feel like, these beliefs must be true, or, if reality is showing up and showing me that what I feel is true by putting that into my experience on the outer world, of course I'm going to keep compounding that feeling space as though it's true in my inner. And so, yeah, I can see where I've been giving the I am things that I have chosen without really realizing how that was going to keep showing up, and how I was going to keep having variations of the experiences in my outer world. And so, what Edward Art says, that feeling safe in your imagination, feeling safe is the first place to start. And that feels right to me, because that seems like a really reasonable foundation to build everything else on. What you're giving to yourself in the inner. If you're not feeling safe with your inner world, in your imagination, that does seem like things would go off the rail at times, and because of that, because you would be setting yourself up for things to happen that you wouldn't want to have happen, but they would happen because it's what you're giving to yourself. So, yeah, so feeling safe in your inner imagination, your inner world, safe with I am, because if I am's the problem, then I am's the solution, right? And it's always what I'm giving to myself, what I'm giving to I am, is going to come back and show itself and present itself to me in the outer world. But I'm either building fear in my inner world, and with that fear would come a lot of unease, dis-ease, anxiety, stress, physical ailments, pain, frustration, confusion, like all those things, because you're either giving I am fear and fear-based things, feelings, because that's how you can give I am, is feeling. So you're either giving I am fear-based feelings and assortments of, fear-based connected feelings, or you're giving I am your trust, your you're willing, that you're allowing to feel better, to your joy, your positive expectations, like you're giving I am your wish fulfilled. And the feeling of that is, it's like your ticket to that ride, to that experience that starts with that willingness to give that to yourself in feeling first. And then I am can give that to you in experience, in the outer. But it all starts with the feeling. And so feeling safe, definitely I can see how that's important, because unhappy people don't feel safe. People who are worrying and stressed out and depressed, any of those things, that's not coming from a place of safety. That's not coming from a place of security, of ease, right? That's not the feelings that you're wanting to give yourself. In the inner, so that's where the practice is. How do you feel safe? How do you give yourself the feeling of safety? You have to make that leap of faith that you are safe. And what does that feel like to you? It's very interesting, because I tend to think that I feel safe, but I don't always have that in my experience. So I know then that there's room, right, to dig deeper and give myself more of what I'm wanting to experience. So building a nurturing feeling of safety and security with my inner world, my I am, my imagination. I could begin doing things in my imaginal world where I'm always safe. I'm completely safe. There's like no question that no matter what I'm doing, I'm safe. And I could do that, and that would be a good use of my time. It's certainly better than anything else, right? So I think I'll do that. I think different things that I could feel safe doing in my imagination would be, I mean, gosh, that could be anything, right? It's completely personal as to whatever it is that you wanted to do. You could choose that. For some, it could be swimming in a big, beautiful pond. It could be flying on the back of a Pegasus. I mean, there's nothing saying that we have to reel it in our imagination. It can be as realistic or as fantastical as we would like it to be. What's important is that it feels good, right? And that while you're doing it, you feel safe, that you feel like whatever it is you're choosing is right. It's okay. It's a good expression. You're giving I am the expression of your own feelingness, your own beingness in how you're choosing to feel. So your focus, your choice of whatever those things are in your imagination are all completely 100% your choice. And you can it's endless. You can be a great writer. You could feel like you're writing a novel that's the best ever. You could be a singer and singing in front of an audience if that was something that felt good to you, and you wanted to imagine that. You could imagine yourself running through a field of wildflowers, just beautiful flowers, endless. An ocean and a sea of flowers as far as you can see, everywhere. If that felt good to you. I've actually had a dream like that, and it did feel good. It was amazing. You could dream that you're flying, and that you were safe, and that you could go anywhere you wanted. Like, how do you build a feeling of safety with your own imagination? Your imagination where I am exists and wants to give you everything that you want. But what are you giving I am? Right? Because it's all going to be translated in feeling, not words, not even pictures. Because the feelings are what carries the it's like that is the expression that I am can receive. So if I am is a lock, feeling is the key. Oh, ooh. I wonder if that's how Neville Goddard came up with that one. Oh, wow. Okay, so I crack myself up sometimes because I'm just like, ooh. But yeah, that, right? If feeling is the key, then feeling is the key that unlocks I am. And I am can then give us in experience in the outer world what we give to it in the inner world in feeling. So why not? You know, that's what I'm going to be doing. I have listened to Edward Art's most recent video several times. 3 times while I'd wake up and I'd turn it on and I'd fall asleep while listening to it. I did that 3 times this morning. But since then, in my waking, I've listened to it 4 times, and I'm going to be listening to it again when I'm done making this video, because it's just, I keep hearing new little things, even though it's such a simple, really clear message that he's sharing. It's like, wow, again, you know, I'm amazed at how he can get to the heart of a thing and then just peel it open, and it makes absolute sense, and then I can see where I can apply that. Okay, that was my cat. But yeah, so applying these things that are just like, they're so simple, right? But they're incredibly powerful, and they're literally the things that, if you, like Edward says, if you take these teachings as fact and apply them as fact, it changes it, and it's opens it up to work in your life in ways that do seem pretty spectacular, like I just keep feeling like I'm just on this edge of expectation that things are happening under the surface, and all I have to keep doing is this, just applying these teachings and really taking them to heart in the way that I believe in them so completely that it melts, it dissipates the doubt and the fear that would normally want to come in and run the show, right? In whatever way fits with my past belief patterns / feelings, right? So yeah, it's really interesting. I'd love to hear from you, especially just anyways, in general. I'd love to hear from you. But I would love to hear from you about what you are gleaning from Edward Art's new videos that he's been posting, because they're fantastic. And if they're helping you in ways that are surprising you and delighting you and helping you are you feeling the shift? Are you feeling the teachings as though they are present fact? Are they opening up for you like that? Because that's what I'm feeling. And I have so many great opportunities to apply them. And I just know that the amount of stress and anxiety that I have been feeling for years, really, has gone from like between 7, 8, 9, 10, I like to fluctuate up in there, down to about a 3. I'm down to a solid 3, because now when something comes up, I'm not so quick to react, or even to feel a reaction in my body. And I've noticed as well, and this is a really good indicator that this is working, is that something will come up. Let's just say something is said, and I will feel this feelings kind of like it'll try to bubble to the surface and be like, hey, but then I'm I'm not feeling the unwanted feels come in so strong and so dominant. Like the pattern of that is not like it had been. Instead, now I'm feeling like there's a feeling inside of me that's more like, hey, wait a minute, that's not the feeling. That's actually, I am kind of like, because I'm not having a feeling reaction that doesn't feel good, my thoughts are already in line with how I'm feeling, which is feeling good. And they will be the ones that'll be like, hey, that's not a thing that that I need to focus on or concern myself with. Like, maybe that's what's being said, but it's not about you, or it's not actually concerning you, or it's not true for you, or and as a result, the feeling that I might have otherwise felt of stress and anxiety in my chest, and then of course that could have gone into my head and made me feel like my blood pressure was rising or whatever. That's not happening. And then I'm just finding myself like just doing things that are more of interest to me, because I'm joining some sort of thought stream that and that's outside of myself at that. There's no draw. It doesn't feel like there's a point in me doing that. And so I'm not. And I know it sounds like, well, it's not that hard to do, but when it's become a pattern, and I don't know, it's not feeling hard to do now. It's not feeling like it's a struggle now. It's not feeling like I need to defend myself or explain myself or or just anything that just doesn't feel good in general. That all just seems to dissipate away, and I'm just tending to other things, that my mind is just going to other things. And I think it's because, and I'm excited about this, because now that I'm bringing that Edward brought to my attention the part about feeling safe within my imagination and with my I am. And I hadn't really given it much thought about, I don't feel safe in my imagination, but that makes sense because if you're giving yourself fearful thoughts, right, in whatever, level of fearful thoughts they are, there's nothing safe feeling about that. None of that feels safe, right? Because what's the difference between you giving yourself fearful thoughts and somebody else from outside of you pushing fearful thoughts onto you or at you? There's no difference. I mean, you could say, oh, it's horrible if somebody's doing that to you, but you're doing it to yourself too. And so it's just a side effect. If you're experiencing it in your outer world, which I was, it's just a side effect of what you're giving to yourself in your inner world, which I was, I mean, that makes total sense because, it's funny, I had a dream, not last night, but the night before, that I woke up from a dream where I was lying on some rocks along a shore, but I was in the lake, and I was in this lake that was vast. I mean, it was all lake and some landscape towards, from where I could see. It was huge. And it was gray. It was a gray day. It was overcast. And it was, I couldn't get a sense of temperature. I was in the water. Water was touching me. My left leg was kind of, close to the water, if not touching it. And the water was clear, but it was gray and cloudy because that's what it was reflecting. And I was laying on my back, and I was thinking that I was going to die there. That's what was that was in my thoughts. That was all I was feeling, was that this is where I was going to die. And I started to feel a little scared, and then some crows, a lot of them actually, flew across the sky, past me, off to the, into the woods, I suppose. And I remember thinking, oh, this is just like when my mom died, and I flash back to my mother on her deathbed and the experience that I had being with her, the way that I guess I imagined it must have been for her, lying on her back, dying. And when I was at the hospital, when I came that morning, the last day with her, a huge raven flew past the picture window of her room, my mother's room, and then went over and landed on a building across the way. I watched it. It was just very telling. I knew that she didn't have long. And I remember in the dream, after the crows flew past, and I was feeling this loneliness and kind of fear, but I was also feeling very resigned to my fate of dying there. And I remember crying out, "Mother, Mother," to my mom. And then I felt like, I was starting to fall into the water, and I thought something could be in the water and would come and eat me, but I never saw anything. And then I woke up, and I just think, there's so much ample opportunity to give ourselves what we want, to give those feelings of what we want to ourselves and our imagination. Give that to the I am inside of us, that God part of us. And we, I think about my life, and I've given myself a lot of amazing, wonderful feelings, because I've had a lot of amazing and wonderful experiences in my life. But it hasn't been balanced per se. There's been a lot of unwanted stuff. And so, finally coming to this place where I'm recognizing how I've been doing this to myself and how I can change what I'm doing is, it is a huge relief to feel that that's true. And so each little piece of the puzzle that keeps coming along, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's another thing. Yes, this is another thing and just pop it in there, and then I'm just like, yeah, it is working. It is doing pretty much exactly what Edward Art says it's gonna do, right? And I guess that's where the persistence comes in, where Neville Goddard says, feeling is key. Give yourself the feeling, and then be persistent with it until it shows up. But you don't have to push and force it. You can just have fun with it, and you can be safe with yourself as you're doing it. And I think that's really such a vital aspect of it, is to feel safe. I've always wanted and kind of, felt like the people that I love were safe with me. I deserve to be safe with me. I deserve to feel safe within my own existence, with my own beingness, and give myself feelings that I am so worthy of, right? But how often do we stop ourselves from doing that? For whatever the reason, they're all fear-based. And they're all from a place of guilt or shame or whatever it is. It's not a true feeling place. It's a lie that we've bought into and that we've perpetuated. And it's okay. because we don't have to perpetuate that anymore. See? And that's the beauty of this, is that we can just keep adjusting what we're doing until we get it just right. Just right the way that we want it to be. I think that's what's important. Yeah. So, I'm done musing about this for now because it's getting late and I want to write some notes and listen to Edward Arda a little bit more. And then I'm going to have a good night's sleep. And I'm going to keep feeding my fire tonight because it's supposed to get down to like 2 degrees. Last night it only got down to 6. And we stay quite comfortable, quite warm. It's usually above 60 in here, but 60 is fine. It's a little cool, but it's not terribly cold. Just in case you care about my temperature, my inside cabin temperature. But yeah, so I guess I'm telling you this because I get up through the night, and when it's really cold nights, it's usually about every 2 hours, but normally I can go like 4 hours easily on just regular cold nights, like in the 20s, mid 20s, upper 20s. It's easy to keep it warm. Usually we have to like open a window or open the door because we're like roasting. So it's off-grid living for you. So yeah, I'm just, you know what, I'm just kind of marveling that I'm making such a swift progress with how I'm feeling and I'm experiencing it in my outer life. The feedback I'm getting is quite stunning. Yeah, and it was such a relief too. It feels so good to know that I'm grasping these teachings in a way that is so powerfully simple, but very profound, and it just keeps unfolding and becoming more and more like I'm having fun, like I'm not stressed out. I'm not in a state that doesn't feel good to me. So it's making my ability to flow and figure out what it is that I want feel so much more enjoyable, because I'm not coming from a place of stress and anxiety about any of it. And so that's allowing my inner world to just kind of, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it inspires me with ideas that maybe I wouldn't have had if I had been feeling stressed, right? And that makes sense because then it would be giving me more stress to be stressed about, and I don't need that. So, okay, I'm gonna stop talking now because I've really enjoyed the things that I've said and shared with you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and what's working for you and how you're experiencing these teachings. I'm really interested because I'm completely fascinated right now. So you know what I'm going to do after I get some more wood in the fire and take some more notes after listening to Edward Art. While it's fresh in my mind, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to um, go into my imagination like it's the safest place I've ever been. And I'm going to do all the things that just pop into my head. And I'm going to have fun doing it. It's going to feel great. Because why? Because I'm safe doing it. There's nothing I can do in my imagination that's not safe, right? So I'm going to give that a go. And then I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm just going to start my day knowing that this life is a dream and that I get to choose everything that I'm giving to myself in the inner. And I'm just going to enjoy everything that blossoms in my outer because of what I'm doing. And I don't know, I'm really excited about it because it's exactly what I want to be doing. So it's an adventure. It's like, yeah, I feel like it's a really grand adventure that I get to be an active participant in because I am the only participant in it, really, that's choosing what I want. So yeah, it's my responsibility. And then, yeah, you see how I did that? All right, until we talk again, friend.